gonna do everything the kind like. Heard they do anything for
Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side. You can change it. You can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live it, versus embrace it, change it, prove it, make your mark upon it.
Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that.
You're going to fall down, but the world doesn't care how many times you fall down, as long as it's one fewer than the number of times you get back up.
Do not lean back, lean in. Put your foot on that gas pedal and keep it there until the day you have to make a decision, and then make a decision.
The biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy where you're guaranteed to fail is not taking any risk.
There's been such a seismic change to consumer behavior, and as a result of that, any business, small or large or consumer-based or not, that is going to continue to embrace the status quo, in my view, is in deep trouble.
It takes a small, courageous team to show your company how to give the customer what they want. And this is the only way to win, and you are the only one to do it.
And now, please welcome Conductor's co-founder and CEO, Seth Besmertnik.
Good morning. Whew. Last year I ran on stage, I was out of breath, and I'm like, I'm not letting that happen again. So I upped my game this year. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Welcome to the west coast of Manhattan. This is a fantastic place to be. It's our second year here. So who's ready to start C3 2005? After many years of being a customer, we finally got Jamie from Dell to join. Thank you for being here, Jamie. So I'm a little more nervous than usual. Obviously, there's a lot of people in here. I think I can see some of them in the back. We got a lot of customers here. I got my investors here, giving me millions of dollars. We got partners here, but I got a lot of family here today. I see different family members. My in-laws are here from Philadelphia for the first time. Steve and Michelle, where are you? But my mom and dad are here. Mom and dad, are you here? Stand up for a second. Give a round of applause for my mom and dad here. Listen, my parents are divorced, but they're sitting next to each other, and this is the power of C3. It brings people together. Brings people together. All right, so that video is pretty awesome, and this session and a lot of what we're talking about is about being fearless. And you might be asking, what could a group of incredibly good-looking people like yourself, so what could you be? What could marketers be scared of? What could we possibly be scared of? This is just a career. Is it spiders? Little skiders, it's crawling on you. This is New York City. We don't have spiders. We got the other little guys. Is it that uncle that no one talks about that's become a clown? Or maybe it's this cracked out clown, this guy. I think I know what we must be scared of. It's definitely this guy right here. Now these things might be scary, some more than others, but these are not the fears that are holding us back. These are not holding us back from achieving greatness. what we really fear is we fear being this guy. Sitting in a room. Last year he got 30% more traffic, so he's committed to doing it again. And he knows that he doesn't have the resources, he doesn't have the team, he doesn't have what he needs to get it done this year, but he's too scared to speak up. Or maybe it's this guy. Needs to build a business case. Needs to go make a proposal to go ask for the resources. Never done it before. Doesn't know how to do it. He's scared to make the pitch. He's scared that the answer might be no, not approved. Or maybe it's this guy. This is not just one of those guys that wears scarves, in offices. We all know one of those guys. This is a guy who's been a 20-year newspaper reporter that is now working on your content marketing team. And you are scared to have the 10th conversation with him about why having customer-centric content is the right way to do it, and stop using those snappy, sensational headlines. We all have one of these guys in our lives. Or maybe we're scared of this. You've got the team, you got the resources, you got the budget, you got everything you asked for. You even convinced that guy to do the things that you set out to do. You got a big plan, but ultimately you fail. You don't deliver the results. You don't deliver on the promise. And perhaps the most scariest fear of them all, which is one that is extremely unique to only the people in this room and the people that we represent, is that you get the resources, you get the budgets, you execute, you do it all, you knock it out of the park, only to find out that your board questions the work that you do because someone forgot to come up with the formula for ROI. We don't know what the ROI is. So show of hands, anyone ever have one of these fears? Everyone have one of these fears? Come on, be honest with yourselves. I know you got one of those, Frank. Come on, be honest with yourselves. So imagine what life would be like if you can overcome some of these fears, and this is really what C3 is about. Or we started C3 and we started Conductor out of a deep passion to help marketers and help our customers be successful and win and overcome these challenges. And what we've learned in the years of building the company are that there are 3 extremely important things that you need to be successful. Now the first one is belief. You got to believe in the opportunity. Being here is a fantastic commitment to that. It's my job today is to get you to continue to believe, but you got to commit to the opportunity. If you just try to dip your toe in the water and do a little bit of something and go back to what you're doing next year, it's not going to work. You're going to get crushed. You need to have the knowledge. You need to have the tools and the tips and the tricks and the strategies and the consulting and the advice. You need to have all of this. This is important. And in most industries, if you have the knowledge, you have the belief, and you have some of the resources, you can be successful. But not in the industry that we're in. You need courage, right? You really need courage, right? Because you need the willingness to take risks, to take chances, to bang your hand on a table and say, no, we're going to do this, right? We're going to do this. We have to do it this way. Because if you take a few steps back and you think about what we're all doing, it's way bigger than what we think about day to day. It's what we are doing goes right in the head of the status quo and challenging the way that companies have thought about communicating with customers, and it's an uphill climb. And we can't just sit around and wait for a new CMO to be hired who's going to make our life a whole lot easier. That just doesn't happen all the time. You can't count on that. You have to have courage, and that has to come from inside, right? And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about. So you need to have belief, you need to have knowledge, you need to have courage. This is the winning formula. And C3 is about harnessing the full power of organic marketing. It's about getting those 3 things, and it's about doing that. And we are here today to represent this. We started C3 5 years ago. And we really struggled to get 60 people to come. And I swear, like half the people were there for free lasagna and an afternoon smoothie. And we were flying people out. It was and like look at this room today. I mean, we got people standing up in the back. I mean, it is packed. This is incredible. You guys are amazing. And and most of you are not my relatives. This is a phenomenal crowd. I mean, look at just a small snippet of some of the companies that are here. These are amazing companies, emerging brands, global brands, agencies, And the people who are introducing their company's products and services and missions to the world in the way that the customer wants, they're all here sitting next to you. And I think that's one of the biggest opportunities here at this event is to just meet people. Everybody's nice, everybody's friendly, and make sure that you go home tomorrow night with at least 10 names of people that you didn't know to come to do this. So this is really important. The next big part about C3 is the content. Who's excited for some of the speakers? I am. It only gets better. And we've got inspirational leaders. And one of the things that really makes C3 a unique event is, we feel like the best way to learn is learn from people like yourself. So we've got real brands, we've got real marketers sharing their stories, how they've won, how they've failed, how they've built the courage to do things, and it's incredible. We've got great content, and I wish there was 4 versions of myself so I can go to all the sessions. Now we got partners. We got some great partners here, and these are not just any companies. I mean, these are companies that our customers came to us and said, "Hey, we work with these companies. They're doing great work for us," and we really think that everybody should just spend a few minutes and talk to these guys. They all have something unique to offer. So after a hard day's work and after a lot of believing, who's ready to go party on this bad boy tonight? All right, that speaks for itself. So just before I get into the rest of my talk and before we get into all the great technology and everything we're doing, I just wanted to say on behalf of all of the people at Conductor, probably the 2 most important words of the day, which is thank you guys. Thank you guys for being our customer. Thank you guys for supporting the company. Thank you guys for really doing everything. I mean, Conductor is really nothing without the people in this room. And we will use all of the energy and all the support you have to just make the company a better company. So thank you very much. All right, so we're on a pier over the Hudson River. If you didn't realize that, we're over some water here. And before this place became like an iconic venue for fancy weddings and rah-rah marketing events like this one, this used to be an actual working pier. And this was the launching point for literally thousands of journeys across the world. They started right here. And we really like this word journey because it's a metaphor for a lot of what we're all doing, which is it's an adventure. It's you got to go somewhere and you're not sure how you're going to get there. It's the path that you take. It's the it's the challenges that you have, and we think it's really representative of the world that we're in. And today I want to talk about two journeys in particular. The first is the customer journey, and the customer journey is this framework that we all use to think about understanding customers and influencing customers, and it's pretty exciting. And then the second journey, and perhaps even more important, is the marketer journey, which is you guys, and how this is the journey that puts food on your plate and money in your pocket, and it's your career, it's your life, and how do you make the most of it? So we're going to start off with the customer journey. Now there's a few different ways that people talk about customer journeys. You've got like the customer decision journey, you've got the path to purchase. One of the popular ways to talk about is the buyer's journey. So we're just going to take a second here and just look up in Google buyer's journey. Click, and hey, what do you know? That's pretty cool. So looks like Conductor is reaching our customers early in their buyer's journey, and this is interesting. So had to show that. Sorry. So back to the customer journey. So there's 2 words, right? There's customer and there's journey. And let's just focus in right here on this on the first word, which is customer. So the customer is the reason why we're here, right? We're not here we're not here because we want to talk to that content guy or we want to make plans. We're here because people have changed, the customer's been empowered, and we're trying to figure out how do we get the interest of that customer in any way we do that. What's up, dude? We're serious with security here. So the customer change. If you think back to the old days, so this is one of my old family pictures. That's me right there with the blonde hair. As businesses, we used to have control over the customer, right? We would give them our message, and they were kind of forced to eat it up. Advertisers used to have what we say is the George Costanza way of reaching customers. And I'll show you an example of what I mean by this with this clip.
You know the way I work. I'm like a commercial jingle. At first it's a little irritating, then you hear it a few times, you're humming it in the shower. By the third date, it's bye, Menon.
So that's George talking about his strategy to pick up women. And it's interesting. Advertisers today, it's like 20 years later, they still have a little bit of this, of this George Costanza mentality. You know what I'm talking about? Chicken parm, you are, taste so good. Buyer's journeys are so fun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not watching enough football on Sunday. All right, so here's another kind of example of like the old school way of thinking, right? So you got people in taxis in New York City. Very captive audience. Most people are not going to jump out of the taxi while it's driving. So we're like, hey, brilliant idea. Let's put a TV in there and play some news and throw some commercials on top of it. And, interesting idea. But eventually people figured out where the mute button was. And then they just went back to looking at their phones, and it didn't really work out so well, right? So this is from a couple days ago. It's another example of the customer's in control. The customer wins. The customer will always win. That is the reality that we face. The customer is in control. The internet gives the customer an infinite number of options, and unless you get chosen, then you're out of the picture. And when the customer has choice, they make a few really important key decisions. One is they generally choose to avoid advertising. There's a lot. Technology makes that possible, and it's just the way it is. And more importantly, when people have choice, the new customer has choice, and when people have choice, what do? They choose content over ads. They choose content overwhelmingly. When customers have choice, they choose content over ads. This is really, really powerful data. However, when we look at what businesses are doing, as businesses are lagging, right? We're lagging. Most of the money that's spent goes towards the things that customers don't really want. They go towards the things that customers don't really want. And when I look at this, yeah, a little frustrating, but actually I get excited when I look at this. I really, really get excited because it shows that if you have the knowledge, and if you have the belief, and if you have the courage, and if you have the insight and the data, and you can make the business cases, and you can do that, you can change this. You can change this. And the point is not to have one go away and the other one. This is about having balance and taking an integrated approach to reaching customers and really giving the customer what they want. So this is serious stuff, but as you can see from my gymnast routine, we like to have fun with things at Conductor, and we made a short video for you guys.
Oh, the show is back on.
Awesome. So back to the customer journey. So we talked about the customer. I think I've made my point. Now let's focus on the second word, which is journey. And notice how I didn't say funnel, right? There's the old the good marketing and sales funnel where people come nicely on top and they make their way very elegantly down the bottom. And the sale that funnel worked really well for the old customer, but the new customer the new customer looks a lot more like this. They come in different stages, they flow through different stages, and it's hard. You can't just put a funnel out of them and go around them. That's not the way to do it. So we're gonna get rid of the funnel right now, and we're gonna move to a journey. A journey, and a great way to represent the journey is through a map. And the interesting thing about the customer journey is that unlike most journeys where you start and you have a very clear destination, I'm here in New York, I want to get to London, how am I going to get there? The customer journey most often doesn't actually start with a known outcome. You don't know where you're actually going. So this, it's this very basic, simple idea is what represents the real opportunity for us. Is that the customer doesn't know where they're going, and we've got an opportunity to play a role in this. So let's just jump into it. So the customer journey starts off with a bunch of sort of different ways of the customer expressing themselves. They've got intent, they've got curiosity, they're interested in something, they've got a problem, and the customer says, how do I get more site traffic? They don't go to Conductor's website. They go to a search engine and express intent and say, how do I get more site traffic? So I want to focus in just on one example, which is ways to save money. I think everybody might relate to that, even you fancy people up in the first rows. So ways to save money. We're cruising in, and as you go through this, you come across some information, and you find there's lots of ways to save money. You can get heating, get a thermostat, get a checking account. You can swap your TV from alternatives, and you kind of go through a path, and you get different information that you're consuming at your own leisure, and ultimately you arrive on a destination which says, I want to save money by getting lower fees on my checking account. So you're doing a bunch of searches, and this is the late stage buying stage, and you're looking for things that are much more specific over here. And what we found is that most companies and really digital marketing at large, we really focus most of our efforts over here. Someone's ready to buy, they're ready to engage, or they got their credit card out, they're ready to go, and that's what you're doing. And the challenge with that, there's two really big problems with just waiting for the customer to get here. The first big problem is that you and your competition, you're all going after them. You're all going after them. If you look at like a results page for one of these, it's super competitive. Everybody's going after it, and that means that the customer is going to make a decision on something perhaps maybe something more superficial. They'll make a decision around price, and if that's the first time you're starting a relationship with your customer, it's much harder to do that. So that's the first problem. The second problem, which I believe to be a much more profound problem. So if you zoom out here a lot, you can see that there are the other categories here. There's the home heating category, and there's the streaming TV option. And if you look here, right, most of the customers actually that went through this buying path of these 8 examples, these 8 people, they're actually looking at completely different solutions. So if you're a bank, I don't know of any bank that is trying to get people to not look for a thermostat or a heating solution and go to get a checking account. Banks don't think like that, right? They're going to say, I'm competing for those 2 guys in the middle. So it's almost like the scorecards that we use to say whether we're winning or losing or doing a good job. Do we have enough market share? Do we have share of voice? It's based on a kind of a false scorecard, because what you really should be looking at is the big picture here, because this is really where the opportunity lives. And we like to think about, I like to think about this as an opportunity to create what I call digital bumpers. So you see how these things highlight here. So these are opportunities where if you understand what your customer is looking for, if you understand the words that they use, that you can create content and you can create an experience that ultimately gets them to say, what, the right way to solve my saving money problem is through better financial solutions. It is through a checking account. It is through that, and redirect them. And this is an incredible opportunity, and it's something that I think all of us need to think about. Take a step back from what we're doing and say, are we looking at the world this way? Because this is how the world works, and this is what this is the difference between optimizing someone who's ready to buy and actually doing marketing. We call ourselves marketers, and this is a chance to really do marketing. Now, one more thing here is that if you're probably if you're in the B2C business, it's a little easier to do this than if you're in a B2B business, because the sales cycles are much shorter. But you actually can do an interesting job of creating content that integrates your product experience. And we have some customers that are doing this, where you can actually accelerate the buyer journey from early to late by doing a really thoughtful job of creating content. So it's an interesting opportunity. Now, just before I move off of this, I just want to show one example here, right? So this is actually what shows up in Google if you look for ways to save money. And the big thing to notice here is that there's no ads. Now, if you look up almost any like early stage kind of customer intent term, there's no ads. And it's not because there's not an opportunity, because marketers aren't thinking about it. And when I look at this, I say this is an incredible opportunity to create content. It's a great opportunity to create content. And buying the traffic here, if you were to buy this keyword, it's not going to be expensive because you're not competing with anybody. So it's a great opportunity to reach the customer. And it's really, there's this, the thing that's exciting is in a couple of years from now, 3-4 years from now, it's not going to be like this way. Marketers are going to figure it out, and there's a real opportunity to go after this. So when you put all this together, there's a huge shift that's happening with the customer, and there's 3 opportunities for you guys. One is understand your customer, understand them in a really deep way, how they search, what they look for, what their problems are, understand the customer. The second thing is reach people early. Reach people early. That is the way to win influence. It is extremely powerful. And the third thing here is do it with content, right? You have to do it with content. Your companies need to do it with content. So I'm talking kind of in the theoretical sense here, and it's interesting. And the slides are very beautiful. Thank you, Billy, wherever you are.